What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of Patient X Holistic Healing. Today we're going to talk about one of the 48 laws of power. I'm going to start a new series as well. This is going to be a new series where I'll break down one or maybe a few laws at a time and give y'all direct experiences that I've dealt with where maybe I violated a law or maybe I used the law to my favor. Somebody else violated a law, that type of stuff. So if you've never seen me before, my name is Professor X. I'll be a healing coach and spiritual teacher today, right? So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the law we're going to focus on today is the 19th law. Know who you're dealing with, right? Seems simple enough, but many people violate this on a daily, right? Now, in this situation, I violated it. I'm not going to lie. I was a little younger. I was 15, maybe 14, and I didn't know who the fuck I was dealing with, and I got dropped. I'm going to always tell it to y'all straight. I'm going to bring it to y'all with the facts and the knowledge. But to keep it simple, I was playing with the wrong person, right? So this happened at basketball practice, right? I was on the basketball team when I was in 9th grade. And one of my teammates, I don't want to say he was a crash out. He was actually a very level-headed dude. But he gave off this aura of, don't fuck with me, And I didn't care about that. When I was younger, I chose my battles a little bit wisely, but I would make some false moves. Maybe I was trying to overcompensate or whatever, or I was feeling overconfident. Matter of fact, around that time, I had just got with this girl, so I was probably feeling very confident, you feel me? Now, when it comes to people, there's a few things that you want to look out for physically to determine who is the right person, who is the wrong person. This situation got physical, so there's certain physical things I have to look out for and, mental, behavioral things I have to look out for. But depending on your situation, you might be looking for other stuff as well. Reputation is also a very big part of this too. Like if I would have just paid attention to bro reputation, I would have probably not have gotten into this situation. So the scene starts at basketball practice, like I said. We're chilling by the bleachers and whatnot, waiting for coach to come in. Coach taking forever, low key. So we're just in there goofing around. And, I guess bro had a bad day. He was in there geeking. He's like,
man, somebody boxing me right now. Man, I bet nobody step up.
And, giving that rah energy. I guess he just wanted to take his frustration out on somebody. Like, as a friendly fade. Everybody around me, they like, man, hell no, this nigga tripping. I'm looking up, I jet up, I'm telling you. I said, my ears perked up. Nigga, fight me then. Mind you, I was like 5'2", maybe 5'4". In the 9th grade, I'm like 5'10" now. This boy was like 6'2". So I was at a severe disadvantage. I was wilding, I'm not gonna lie, looking back. Now, luckily, I got shown grace in this situation. To be honest, it could have ended up a lot worse. To keep it simple, we lined up. I put my hands up, he put his hands up, and somebody got a timer on. As soon as they say go, before I could even think, bing, 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 bing. It was like 6 back to back. I didn't even get a hit in. I swear. It was the fastest I ever got my ass whooped in my life. That was probably the only fight in my life where I truly lost. Other fights, it was kind of close. You can't really tell who won or who lost. But maybe somebody got an extra hit in. No, I lost. Matter of fact, sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. I used to be that type of person. I really moved away from that in my adult years. Having to learn shit the hard way is stupid. It's plenty of other people that came before you that literally experienced that same thing, and they could tell you, don't do that, move this way to avoid certain situations. As a youngin', I didn't really care about any wisdom of my elders. I could have took that one to my dad or my mom, and they would have easily told me, don't mess with people who are mentally unstable. Even today, if I'm confident that I could win a fight, cause mind you, I box. So I have the slight advantage over other people. I want to clear something up as well. Just because you know how to fight don't mean that you have the up on somebody. Some people are just not to be messed with, whether they can fight or not. And that's why the number one rule of fighting, if you take an actual class with a good instructor, they're gonna tell you that the number one rule of fighting is to avoid fighting at all costs. That's the number one rule. So not only did I violate the number one rule of fighting, I violated the 19th law. Know who you're dealing with. Mind you, this was not the only time I broke this law and some shit like this happened. This happened like a few more times before this. This was the last time I did something like this. Cause he did me, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this was the last time. Mind you, this dude was my boy. He was on my team. We wasn't like friends or nothing. I was like a few years younger than him. You know, they kind of look at the younger cats like, oh, they just some little mini me's, you know, I'll treat them any type of way. They had a weird nickname for me and all type of shit. Like, I didn't really get respect in that situation. And that's leading to a whole other law that I actually used it right to get away from that situation and draw back my respect. But I know who I'm messing with at all times. And I'm more of a pacifist now anyway. So I try not to get into altercations. I bet nobody do this and nobody step up and blah, blah. Like, nah, nobody will step up. Hopefully. No, hopefully nobody does. That's the thing. Like, as far as street fights go, you never really know who you're messing with, like, at all. You could be messing with amateur boxer. You could be messing with an MMA champion. You could be messing with the number 10th ranked in the state, the number 2 ranked in the country. Like, you never know. And you could be messing with some unhinged civilian who just got a pocket knife or even a gun on them, you know? So you never really want to mess with people. But now we can get into the next part of the video. How did I bounce back from this? What law did I use to draw back my respect? Because mind you, this was like some quick little, this fight was probably like 12 to 20 seconds. Mink, 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 mink. Like as fast as it takes me to say mink like 12 times, that's how fast the fight was. They had the cameras out. So I'm on everybody's Snapchat at this point. Like in a grounded situation, I would have been the laughing stock of the school at that point. But luckily I wasn't. Like, nobody really gave a fuck. And also, it wasn't even an interesting fight. Like, I put up no fight. He did me quick. But people were still clowning on me. So I had to use law 16 and 17, right? Use absence to increase honor and respect, and then cultivate an air of unpredictability. That's how I bounced back from this situation. A little bit of investing in myself as well. That's not really a law, but that's kind of like baked into the law. At that point, as far as social credit, that was like the lowest I was at in high school, you feel me? After that year, I had stopped playing basketball because I didn't really get respect on the team. Like, it was a lot of politics involved. So what I did after that, I just started doing my own thing. I started making music. I started really teaching myself like valuable skills that I could use in life. And I stopped fucking with a lot of people. Like, I literally cut off almost all of my friends except one, maybe two. And then I would just be on my own thing. Like, even if I wasn't around my friends, like, I was doing my own thing. I would be making beats at school, a lot of stuff. One thing you gotta realize is that people are always watching you. You feel me? That's something I actually didn't really learn until maybe I was like 18, 19. But people are always watching you. And I'm not telling you to do anything specific just because people are always watching you. Really, you should try and be as natural as possible. And that's why this worked for me. Like, people would always see me grinding and making beats and developing myself in my talents. And by the time I was a senior, everybody was all curious and stuff. They'd be like, oh yeah, what's up with your music and blah, blah, blah. You know, I heard your song on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. You know, you really good and blah, blah. You know, by investing in myself, I pretty much drew back my respect and raised my social credit. Now, you shouldn't really give a fuck about social credit. You know, don't care about it any more than you need to, because you kind of do need to, especially when it comes to politics and in real life. Politics is just a part of life. If you're trying to do anything, move up in the world, you know, get by, you gotta be politically active, you know, and all politics is social science, how one person relates to another person. By nature, human beings put themselves in hierarchies. This is just how it is. Now, although this is a social construct, you shouldn't really put your, you know, mental state into this. Just because somebody think they higher than you do not mean that they higher than you. Like, nobody is higher than you, really. So that being said, you know, I had completely dropped out the social shit. I didn't really give a fuck about the social credit. I was grinding for stuff for after high school. At that point, I was looking into my future, and I got that little gleam in my eye. You know, there's also another law that has to do with, I forgot the number, but it has to do with not letting people know your next move. You know, I had that gleam in my eye. I had my future. I was literally future focused. People notice that in you. Despite what you may think, people really notice that type of stuff. And they just be like, damn, I don't know what it is. I can't really put my finger on it, but such and such moving different. Some people will make their own fantasies, and that's another law as well. Play to other people's fantasies. But some people will just make stuff up and be like, damn, such and such really got it all figured out. You know, they don't even know you. They don't know what the fuck you're dealing with. That's why keeping an air of silence is important. Keeping unpredictability is important. For all they knew, I was the next platinum producing artist. You know, they don't know. And some people hate you for that. Some people will love you for that. A lot of people did love me for that. So that being said, man, we talked about 3 laws today. We talked about knowing who you're dealing with, using silence and distance to create respect and honor, and using uncertainty to your advantage. Laws 19, 16, and 17. Go read up. This book is pretty cheap. You feel me? I think I got it for maybe like $20 at Target. You know, it's a very well-known book. I do gotta put a disclaimer that these are very powerful sentiments, if you will. You know, this is not doctoring. I would never live by this book because doctoring is open to interpretation. Truth be told, this book is a very neutral book. It won't really guarantee you power, but if you know how to use it, it can get you power. And there's 2 ways you could use it. You could use it destructively, or you could use it creatively. You know, to build yourself up or to destroy other people and tear other people down. I could tell a lot of the powerful people in this world have read this book because they move like this, and you can see it in everything that they do. The rhetoric in this book will kind of convince you that for you to come up, other people have to come down. And that's not true. That's why I would never tell people to live by this book. You got to use your own discernment when it comes to any teachings. You feel me? It's some laws in this book I don't agree with at all. You feel me? Maybe to a certain extent, but fully, hell no. So like I said, use your own discernment and work with these laws, work with these sentiments to better yourself. Not necessarily to tear other people down. Unless you want to, just know that karma's a bitch. That being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have anything to add to the conversation. Maybe you broke one of the laws. Maybe you used one of the laws to your advantage. Let me know down below. My name is Professor X, and I want to thank y'all for watching Patient Next Holistic Healing, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.